Trust is one of the most valuable currencies in business, yet it's also one of the most dangerous liabilities when given carelessly. Hand it out too freely, and it can cost everything: money, reputation, even an entire business. Throughout history, some of the biggest financial disasters weren't caused by economic downturns or unpredictable markets, but by misplaced trust. Take the infamous case of Bernie Madoff. For decades, investors handed him their life savings, lured by promises of incredible returns. He wasn't running a genius investment strategy. He was simply shuffling money from new investors to pay off old ones. The signs were there. But blind trust led thousands of people to financial ruin before the truth finally surfaced. Madoff's victims weren't foolish. They were human. They saw his polished image, trusted his reputation, and assumed he operated with integrity. This is where many people go wrong, assuming that appearances equal reliability. The mirage of trust. Imagine walking through a scorching desert, desperate for water. In the distance, there's a shimmering oasis. It looks perfect. Clear water, cool shade, exactly what's needed to survive. But as you step closer, the oasis vanishes. It was never real, just a mirage, an illusion created by heat and desperation. Trusting the wrong people works the same way. Sometimes a person or opportunity looks perfect at first glance. The offer is exactly what's needed. The words are convincing, and everything seems promising. But without careful scrutiny, it's impossible to tell if it's real or just a well-crafted illusion. Let's bring this to life with a story about Emma, a small business owner who wanted to expand her online boutique. She met a marketing guru named Ryan at a networking event. Ryan spoke confidently, showcasing flashy presentations and testimonials from satisfied clients. He promised to triple her sales within 3 months, for an upfront fee of $10,000. Emma was hesitant at first, but Ryan's charm won her over. "You've got nothing to lose," he assured her. Desperate to grow her business, she handed over the money. 3 months later, her sales hadn't budged, and Ryan had disappeared. What seemed like a golden opportunity turned out to be a mirage. This scenario plays out daily across industries. People fall prey to slick pitches, polished resumes, and glowing references, only to discover later that they've been deceived. Trust, but always. Verify. Successful individuals don't operate on blind faith. They verify before they trust. Whether hiring employees, bringing in business partners, or making investments, due diligence is key. Hiring employees. Beyond the resume, consider Sarah, the owner of a growing tech startup. During interviews, candidates often dazzle her with impressive qualifications and charismatic personalities. One applicant, Alex, stood out immediately. His resume boasted top-tier experience, and he aced the technical questions during the interview. But instead of rushing to hire him, Sarah implemented a trial project, a small assignment designed to test his skills in action. To her surprise, Alex struggled to complete basic tasks and missed deadlines repeatedly. Without the trial period, Sarah might have hired someone unqualified, potentially jeopardizing her team's productivity. Background checks, reference verification, and trial periods aren't just bureaucratic hurdles, they're essential safeguards against costly mistakes. Partnerships. Friends versus business. Compatibility. Many ventures start between friends who assume that personal relationships translate into business compatibility. But friendship doesn't guarantee shared work ethics or aligned visions. Take Jake and Ryan, childhood friends who decided to open a restaurant together. At first, everything seemed perfect. Jake handled front-of-house operations while Ryan managed the kitchen. However, cracks soon appeared. Jake worked tirelessly, juggling customer service and marketing efforts, while Ryan treated the business like a side hustle, showing up late and cutting corners. When Jake confronted Ryan, tensions flared. "Jake, I'm putting in 80-hour weeks. Here, and you're barely around. How is this fair? Ryan. Hey, I'm doing my part. You're just stressing over nothing. Without a clear partnership agreement outlining roles, responsibilities, and accountability measures, their friendship and business crumbled under resentment. Investments. Promises versus proof. Even seasoned entrepreneurs fall victim to unverified trust. Consider Mark, a real estate investor approached by a developer pitching a luxury condo project. The pitch deck looked flawless, complete with renderings, market analysis, and projected profits. Instead of diving in head first, Mark conducted his own research. He discovered that similar projects in the area had failed due to oversaturation and declining demand. By verifying claims rather than accepting them at face value, Mark avoided sinking millions into a doomed venture. The cost of unverified trust. The consequences of misplaced trust aren't always immediate, but they can be devastating. When people assume that every deal, partner, or employee is working in good faith, they invite unnecessary risk. History is filled with stories of businesses brought down not by competition, but by internal betrayal. Financial advisors who drain accounts, managers who manipulate records, employees who steal intellectual property. These aren't rare incidents. They happen every day to those who don't verify before trusting. For example, let's revisit Nicolas Cage, whose financial advisor mismanaged his wealth, leaving him millions in debt despite earning hundreds of millions during his career. Cage trusted blindly, assuming his advisor acted in his best interest. By the time he realized the truth, the damage was irreversible. Earned trust is the only trust that matters. So, what's the solution? Simple. Trust must be earned, not assumed. This means setting up systems that force verification. Instead of assuming someone is qualified, test their skills. Instead of handing over money based on promises, demand a proven track record. Instead of assuming honesty, create contracts and safeguards. Building systems of accountability. The best businesses and investors don't avoid trust altogether. They just require it to be built over time. Employees. Start with limited access to sensitive information or operations. Gradually increase responsibilities as reliability is demonstrated. Partners. Draft legal agreements defining roles, equity splits, and exit strategies. Ensure contributions are proportional to rewards. Service providers. Use milestone-based payments. Pay partially up front, then release funds only after deliverables are met. For instance, Lisa, a freelance graphic designer, outsourced bookkeeping to save time. Initially, she trusted her accountant implicitly. However, after noticing irregularities, she began double-checking entries herself. Her vigilance uncovered errors that could have derailed her finances. By treating trust as something that must be earned, businesses and individuals protect themselves from deception and disappointment. Real life. Inspiration to illustrate the importance of earned trust. Let's revisit Warren Buffett. Known for his shrewd investments, Buffett rarely acts on impulse. Before committing capital, he conducts extensive research, analyzing companies' financial health, leadership teams, and competitive advantages. In one notable case, Buffett invested in Coca-Cola after years of observing its consistent performance and global dominance. His patience paid off. Coca-Cola became one of Berkshire Hathaway's most profitable holdings. Buffett's approach underscores a critical lesson. Opportunities may seem promising at first glance, but only verified trust ensures long-term success. Chasing. Real oases, not mirages. Opportunities will always appear promising at first glance, just like a mirage in the desert. But those who act on impulse and ignore verification often find themselves stranded, chasing illusions that lead to nowhere. Trust is a powerful asset, but only when it's placed in the right hands. The key isn't to avoid trusting altogether, it's to ensure that those who receive it have proven themselves worthy. As you navigate your business journey, remember, trust must be earned, not assumed. Build systems of accountability. Verify before committing, and prioritize evidence over appearances. Because in the end, the strongest fortresses are built on foundations of earned trust, not fleeting illusions.